Happy spring, my dear brothers and sisters. Well, before I get right to it, as I promised I would in the email, I just want to pause and say thank you. Thank you for praying beside us. Thank you for praying beside me, the other board members, those who accompany me on my trips, whether foreign or domestic, and also for praying beside those that we strive to serve, those who are reflecting God's love and sharing the great news of Jesus worldwide. Thank you for praying beside us. And for those of you who've even done more than pray, that you've invested part of your giving in the ministry, thank you for that too, because this trip I'm going to refer back to, and the one I leave for with our board member Mark Morsehead later today, they could not have happened without both your prayers and your financial support. So thank you for that. So now, quickly, several ways, and I would love for you to approach me by email or by phone or in person sometime to hear more, but 3 ways that you may have been praying for the trip as you looked at the website before I went to the Caribbean island for a second visit after I went there last fall. Here are 3 ways that if you were praying beside me in these ways, here's how I saw God work. If you were praying beside me for a smooth entry and a smooth exit for the 2 mini retreats that I was just able to facilitate, God answered very clearly. It could not have gone more smoothly, getting in and out of the country. The second way you may have been praying, if you were praying beside me for my ability to be at least functional in Spanish so that I could lead these retreats without a translator, because I did not have a translator, well, God also uniquely responded to that prayer. My host, when he was comparing this retreat to the one that I led last fall, he said that this one was even better than that one, even though I didn't have a translator. And I think it was more effective because it was more direct and there was less Spanglish being spoken in the room. The only language being spoken was their own native tongue. So I think that really helped. Thank you for praying. I really sense God produced a unique bubble of translation around my whole week down there. Thirdly, if you were praying beside me that the retreat would achieve its goal of encouraging the pastors and wives who behind the scenes provided the retreat for, God once again answered above and beyond anything we could have asked for or thought of or imagined. So thank you. The discussions were deeper. The follow-up conversations were richer. The personal applications seemed to be depthier. And I just couldn't have imagined it being a more effective week there. So thank you. And for those of you who have been praying since last fall, last October, you might even notice that there's a post on October 5th from last year, that this young lady, the pastor's wife who was having the problem pregnancy, that her doctor assured her that she would die giving childbirth and asked her to get an abortion. She, of course, did not comply with that medical recommendation, and she went ahead and gave natural birth a couple weeks before I arrived, and God very miraculously stopped any possibility of her dying of bleeding, because she has a blood disorder with thin blood, and the doctor had assured her she would die, and she did not. Instead, she gave birth to a baby girl whose name is Esther. Well-chosen name. So thank you again for praying for these ways. And there's 2 other ways you can be praying and potentially participating. The second happened after I returned from the island. Actually, 2 families this year came forward and desired to provide a matching opportunity to give toward behind the scenes during the month of May so that we can put the money aside for foreign soil trips like the 4 I've taken since last May. And those 4 include 2 trips to the Caribbean island, 1 trip to Central America, and 1 trip tonight to Moldova in Eastern Europe. So these 2 families have come together, and one, like last year, is offering a matching gift of $10,000, and the other is offering a matching gift of $5,000. And so we have the potential, for those of you who want to give above and beyond to your own churches, your own ministries that you already support, we have the opportunity to raise up to $30,000 that can be used entirely for the travel and transportation and my support that's included when I go on these foreign soil trips and bringing people with me on these trips, and the expenses of the people that we're serving. Like this past week, we paid for their transportation to and from and their accommodations during the entire week. So if you're interested in doing that during the month of May, every gift you give during May will be used for that. So thank you in advance for those of you who are able to do that. And if you're not able to do it, thank you for praying that God would raise up that kind of support so that we can maybe even expand the number of trips this coming year than we did the 4 last year. And the third area to pray for is the upcoming retreat that Mark Morshead, one of our behind-the-scenes officers and board members, he is going to be joining me, and we're going to go to actually a man who is a missionary in Moldova, the poorest country in Europe. And Mark knows this man from their days in college. Mark came to faith in Christ while he was in college here in the state of Michigan. And he met this young man who was several years younger. And this young man he has been reconnected with in the past 2 years and now has a ministry in Moldova. And this man has developed a network of like-minded missionaries that are gospel-centered in their perspective. And there's a group of English-speaking missionaries that Mark and I will be leading a spiritual refreshment retreat for this coming weekend. It's a really exciting opportunity. We're looking forward to it. And it's going to be in English, so there won't have to be any translator because everybody will be there from either the US or the UK or Australia or New Zealand or another English-speaking country. So again, there's my brief 7-minute summary of those 3 areas, and thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your encouragement, and thank you for those of you who will be able to give in the month of May as well. Have a great week and enjoy early spring.